Hi there, it's Tim, and I'm joined today by Jim from Electron Surfer, another YouTuber all the way down in Sacramento, California. I'm delighted to have you on the call, Jim. We've had a nice chat before we're getting on camera. It's just awesome to hear your voice and speak to you live. We're going to discuss a bunch of things today. As you know, my name is Tim. I'm for Tim's Electric. But if you're actually watching this on Jim's channel, then you may not know who I am. So I'm a big guy up in Victoria, BC, Canada. I'm a very big guy. I'm about 278 pounds and 6 feet tall, and I just love electric scooters. Jim, why don't you tell my audience a little bit about Electron Surfer and what you're doing and where you are down in the wonderful California sunshine.
Yeah, for sure, Tim. It's great to join you. We've talked a little bit. I've watched your channel for a while now, and I've appreciated for some of my riders that are a little larger than I am, which I'm a 175-pound rider I'm in the Sacramento, California area. So we have a lot of sunshine to ride in. And so it's a lot of fun to get out there and ride. And I'm kind of a database sciencey kind of guy. So collecting data and range tests and some of the stuff some other folks don't always like to do, I think is pretty fun. And yeah, I'm excited to discuss some things with you and try to help folks out.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Just to do a little quick history. I started watching. So I'm a bit of a Tesla fanboy. I love, anything Tesla, electric cars, that kind of stuff. Who killed the electric car? All that kind of stuff. I was a big fan of watching.
That's a good one.
And so over the years, I've just sort of come to the realization that I just love all things electric. And one of the things I noticed was a long time ago, there was the I think you'd call it now the Wide Wheel Pro. Maybe it was just. I saw a video of a guy, because you get the YouTube algorithm kicks in and you get a whole bunch of interesting things. And I saw this from, I think it was down in Florida at the time. And I thought that just looks like fun, like really lots of fun. And that was my first sort of seeing an actual electric scooter. I'm not sure about you. Did you have a similar experience? Did you see one for the first time and go, oh, wow, that's kind of cool?
Around here, I had some friends with some old GoPeds. So GoPed had an old electric model you could get. And for me, it was a job change where I had changed to a job where I needed to have some more flexibility as a last mile solution. Mm-hmm. So I bought this really light Zoom Strider scooter.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, I was really trying to do research. I'm just wired that way, and I couldn't find that much. So when I bought the Zoom Strider, I'm like, man, I need to do a review of this. I can do this. So, so my exposure to electric scooters was more for a personal use perspective. I kind of knew about them, but I didn't really have experience with them.
And so that's what prompted you to start the actual channel?
Yeah.
I think I had, so I started my channel a little bit differently. After seeing that particular scooter, I was convinced that a Wide Wheel Pro was the perfect electric scooter for me. I'd seen a couple of the videos, Fluid Ride and other riders and other YouTubers had done reviews of it. And I thought, oh, that's amazing. And fortunately, right here in Victoria, BC, we have a store called Ride the Glide, and they had a bunch of scooters in there. And I thought, well, what if I have a background, my wife's a YouTuber, we do yoga YouTube channels. She has a couple of YouTube channels. And I thought, what if I went in there and offered my services of doing a short video? Maybe they'd be okay lending me a scooter for an afternoon to try out. And at the time, I just didn't have the budget to buy. I saw the Strider video. Funnily enough, I actually saw somebody with a Strider. I think it was a 600 watts, if memory serves me. I never got to actually try one. I just saw one on YouTube. Then, long story short, Ride the Glide were really, really helpful and kind, and they lent me a 08 to try out, and then a 09. And nice. I thought, wow, what I should do? I should make a video comparing the two. And so I posted that, and then I did a video of 08, 09, 010 and tried that out. And right. And then one day I went in there to see, to say, hey, look, I should try a different scooter. They said, hey, did you know we have a 09 on a demo model? it's
Oh yeah.
cheaper,
Yeah.
which appealed to my my cheapness. And
Right.
I did a 08, 09, 010 comparison, and at the end of it, I actually went down and said, yes, I'll buy that. So I went and bought one. Um, I had tried out and bought a cheapy 300-watt motor scooter, and it basically disintegrated under my weight, and it didn't last very long. So I realized that I needed to look at something with a little bit more quality. And so I'm
Right.
sure that's common. How about yourself? Did you try anything else out before the Strider?
That's the one thing here where I'm located. There's not really any places to try scooters out. So I really was in that position of trying to do research and
Mm-hmm.
then taking that chance on buying something that may or may not work for me necessarily.
Right.
So I, kind of sprung for that, Zoom Strider, which I think was about $800, something like that. And I think they maybe gave me a 10% discount. There might have been a discount code floating around.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I really wish I had that ride the glide option like you have. I pretty much buy all of the scooters, and but I just spend a lot of time with them. So I think that's, it's a lot more outlay of funds, but then I do like being able to really dig into some of the specs on there.
Well, that's what I love about your channel, because you're so details oriented and you're analytical. So you're
Right.
able to, and you take the scooters out on a similar run. It was
Mhm.
your channel that helped me figure out what I was going to do with mine. Like, you had that one part of, I assume it's like a park that you're riding through, and then you kind of go up the same hill. You do your hill climb tests with the
Oh,
scooters.
yeah, yeah.
And so I've been watching all those videos over the last few months and sort of just enjoying them. And I think, it really helps somebody to understand, right? Like, I recognize that you're a lot lighter than I am, and so that didn't make sense. So that I realized that there are two demographics out there: bigger guys like myself that are going to perhaps more lean towards some of my videos, because they can say, hey, well, look, you know what, Tim's shooting straight, just like yourself, Jim. You're just telling it like it is.
Right.
I remember there was a particular video where you had your family involved. I think it was the 08 versus 09. And
Yep.
your conclusion for your family was the 08. And I went, yep, I love this video, everything about it. And I went and bought the 09 anyway.
Well, I think what you're talking about, the honesty, if you get a lot of honest information out there, it lets people pick what helps them
Yeah,
on a given topic. And it doesn't have to be like what you're saying is necessarily what you're recommending to that individual, but you're giving enough information that you can help them make a decision.
absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a level of integrity that comes along, right? Because, we're not getting bought out by big companies running along saying, here, say something wonderful about our product.
Right.
Once I actually I did a review of the Wide Wheel Pro, and I did a Wide Wheel Pro versus, I think it was probably 08, 09, 010 or something like that, just single motor scooters. I didn't like it. And I was pretty clear about that. There were a
Hmm.
bunch of things I didn't like. I didn't like the ride quality, I didn't like how it turned, that sort of thing. And I just told people what I thought. And part of me felt a little bit bad about that. But then I'm like, no, you know what? This is my honest opinion, and I'm going to stick with it. Have you ever reviewed a video or reviewed a scooter and just gone, oh, wow, no, or yes, that's amazing, or and just have
Yeah.
that visceral moment?
Yeah, for sure. And it's probably the video I've had maybe the most views, but also the most vitriol.
Oh, no.
So it's the Go Tracks GXL version 2.
Okay.
The biggest problem for me was it didn't come anywhere near its advertised speed. Its display would say it, but you were going about 12 or 13 miles per hour. But
Right.
the company would not stand behind it at all. And some of it was just, I just didn't really think it really performed up to its advertising. And I let that be known. And some people that like that scooter that have it really like to let me know that. And so, that's the risk you take sometimes of being real honest with your opinion.
Yeah, no, you know you've made it when there's vitriol and trolls
Right,
leaving comments.
exactly.
It's like fantastic. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
love it. And also, you're like myself. You get in there to the comments section, you're replying to the comments, and that's amazing. So we did
Yeah.
actually have a bit of a structure to this call. So I thought I
Yeah.
should just bring it back because I've gone completely off down this little rabbit hole. Part one, we were going to discuss a little bit about Canada versus USA riding, some rules and regulations.
Yeah.
Part two, we're going to do Jim made up a really cool slide that we're going to pull up, range versus weight. And then part three, we're going to have a little quick discussion of a larger, the Wolf Warrior scooter. There's a Wolf Warrior Pro, I think, coming up, but curious what your thoughts are on the Wolf Warrior. So why don't we kick things off with Canada versus USA riding and some rules. What are the rules like down in California?
Well, California is, I guess, the biggest thing in the U.S. It's state by state, but then even further dissected, it's a lot of times city, and even like universities will also regulate electric scooter use on the university property. So in California, it was changed a lot for the electric rental scooter market. I don't know if that's very common up in Canada, but just check out the scooter, you pay by the hour kind of thing. And so they changed some rules, and so right in California, max speed is supposed to be 15 miles per hour that they can do.
Okay.
No helmets required for over 18-year-olds.
No helmets.
But only if you're over 18. Then that was to support that market of needing a helmet for the rental scooters. So they didn't want to have people need to have a helmet they didn't want to like restrict use of those scooters.
So you've got people riding around in California on like birds and lime and things like that, doing 24 kilometers an hour, 50 miles an hour with no helmet.
Right.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so there's been a fair number of accidents.
I would imagine.
Yeah. And you're not supposed to ride on the sidewalk. And then I can't even tell what that last note says, but yeah, so not riding on the sidewalk is they don't want them. Electric bikes can ride on the sidewalk, but not electric scooters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a little different here. Although we also go, we have provinces, so province by province, like your state by state. But as it stands right now, we have, I live in British Columbia, and I live on a little island called Vancouver Island, which is in the Pacific Ocean. It's sometimes confused with Vancouver, which is a big city on the mainland. We're not the same. Victoria happens to be the capital of British Columbia, like Sacramento is the capital of California.
Capital connection.
Yeah, capital connection, exactly. And what I've believed to be the case at present is the electric scooters are not legal unless you're on private land. So I think probably I'm riding around illegally when I'm riding around on the streets of Victoria. My feeling on this is that I'm wearing a helmet. I'm in the bike lanes. I'm not on the sidewalks, and I'm doing usually between about 15 to 20. I find 20 miles an hour, 32 kilometers an hour is really comfortable if there's nobody right in front of me or close around me. But if I'm, Victoria itself is a very strong bicycle city, so we have loads of bike lanes. And so what I do is I just don't pass the bikes. I just stay at the same speed that they're going. I think it's kind of like just don't be a doofus, sort of rule,
Right.
and try not to spoil it for everybody. And I mean this, nobody's ever stopped me. No police officers ever stopped me, talked to me about it, or said I'm not allowed to ride it or anything like that. I suspect if I was on 11X doing 70 miles an hour on the highway, somebody might come over and talk to me, but
Right.
Sorry, freeway. You guys call them freeways.
Right. We have both, actually.
Pardon me. Oh yeah, do you? Okay. And
don't make it any more confusing.
Thanks. But what are your thoughts? Like, do you think, what do you feel would be the right way to treat an electric scooter?
I really think, and I don't know if it will happen this way, but I think it should just kind of fall in the same group of regulation as electric bikes. They're throttle powered, allowed up to 20 miles per hour, and then pedal assist powered up to 28.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you there's a lot of people that do like to ride from above 20 miles per hour on these. I tend to be like you. I tend to stay more in the 15 to 20, maybe low 20s on certain scooters at certain places. But I don't really know. I mean, there's such a big increase in these really high power scooters, like we'll be talking about in a few minutes, that I don't know exactly where the industry and the rules are going to meet. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have witnessed, or sadly, my camera guy that was following me around on a scooter, he went over the handlebars, hit a little bump. He was probably going about 2 or 3 miles an hour, so very slow. He went right over the top, knocked himself out, broke ribs, cracked a collarbone, was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and he's recovered, but he's not allowed to ride scooters. So my hat's off to Michael for taking that on like a champ, and he's just been amazing at helping. But I do recognize that if he hadn't been wearing that helmet, he would have been in a whole world of trouble. So it makes me a little nervous when you say they're not on the sidewalks and they're not wearing helmets. That seems like a recipe for a bit of a disaster. But you know what? And as I said, being that we're not even legalized here in Canada, so I just figured wear the helmet.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I'm definitely a big helmet user.
Cool.
What now? I ask you a question if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
So how do you feel bikers treat electric scooters? Are they pretty friendly towards it? Is it sort of like not too warm? Kind of, what's your take on that?
That's a really good question. I've had a couple of Karens look at me funny.
Right.
But I tend to think, even though I look like a happy-go-lucky guy on camera, I have a tendency to think that because I'm a bigger guy, people don't challenge me, if that makes sense. So I've never actually had words. I've had a couple of people you could tell that a couple of times, a couple of Karens were unhappy. And even when I'm riding around with my wife, who, we fly around and enjoy the beautiful views that Victoria has to offer, I've never had an issue. How about yourself? What is it like down there?
I have passed a number of people. We have a really extensive bike path system here in Sacramento. You can go almost 70 miles without really encountering an actual street. That's
beautiful.
Contiguous bike path. It's pretty nice. There tends to be a wide range of speed riders on there. So, even doing between 15 and 20, I'll end up passing some bicycles. I find if you call out just like you're on a bicycle on your left or ring a bell or something, it's always, if you kind of try to almost be an ambassador for electric scooters while you're out there, it seems to help. But you do see an attitude if you get closer to where the rental scooters are rented, the bicyclists have had less good experiences.
Right. Well, because people don't know, right? They're just trying it out. Like I can remember hopping on, I was riding around on the 09, and then I did a review of the Dualtron X, and I got on that, and I thought, oh, wow, this is a different animal.
Oh, yeah.
And I was actually frightened. Like it was very heavy, quite cumbersome. I'm very fortunate I've got good balance because it was something to get used to. I suspect that if somebody hasn't been on a scooter since childhood and maybe their balance isn't great, that perhaps if they're renting the scooter for the first time, or they're quite new to scooters, it might be a bit of a challenge for some people getting used to balancing around. But so I would imagine, they're cutting off bicycles or cyclists as they go through the city. I've never had a major issue.
Okay. Yeah, just curious.
Yeah, for sure. Well, why don't we scoot on to part 2, range versus weight. Now,
all right.
I know you have a graph. Why don't you share with us what this graph is going to show us?
Okay. So basically, what I did before meeting Tim is I had wanted to know what the difference, of course, everybody, I think if you've ridden an electric scooter now, the rider's weight plays a huge role in how far you can go. It's just, it's probably the major factor. And so I had, have my son that's done some range tests at a different weight than me, my lady friend. But I also did a few where I actually put weights on the deck of the scooter to try to equal its maximum weight and rode that way. So I did that with two different. Yeah, so I did.
You
that with
need
two
a
different
photo
scooters.
of that. If you have a photo,
man.
That's hilarious.
I should have taken a photo. So I had 70 pounds of dumbbells on one time. Then I put 50 pounds in a backpack.
Right.
That didn't work out very well. That didn't feel great. That was a rough range test to do. So I graphed this data, and then I put. So I don't have a lot of data points. You'll see on the graph when I send it to you for the display. But it gives you a little sense. I started to try to build this trend, and then to see if this graph even is worth its weight in anything, I want to ask. So I'm going to ask you what you would got on the range for the touring and the cruiser, and kind of what I think. Or I'll start out with what I think.
Yeah, go for it.
And then you can use that as a go from. So for my information, I think you would on the touring, you might have gotten something in the range of the mid 20 kilometer range.
Okay.
And then on the cruiser, I think maybe you could have gotten as much as 50 kilometers, like 30 miles, if you're really pushing it.
So excellent guesses. The one difference, and this will be a difference that might have an impact on your chart, is temperature.
Oh yeah.
I'm in Canada. Now, even though I'm in a part of Canada where we have an average snowfall here of, or receiving snow here in Victoria of once per year. So we get snow for 1 day per year, and that's it. And that's how I like it, because I come from a part of Canada where we used to get 50 days of snow. So, and there are parts of Canada that get way more than that. So suffice to say, I really don't like snow anymore. But the temperature does drop. So we're about 45, 46 degrees Fahrenheit today, which is, but usually we're hovering around 8 to 10 degrees C every day right now. So that's chill. So we are definitely cooler, and that's going to have an impact on the batteries.
Right.
I was closer to 20 on the eMove touring.
Okay.
And I actually think, if memory serves me, and I have to go back to my video, but I think it was 56 on the cruiser, the eMove cruiser. And there were a couple of factors there. Temperature, again, it was probably around 10 or 11 degrees that day. So that 46 temperature. And also the wind picked up on the ride back. So what I did, went from Victoria to another small town north of Victoria, and then turned around and came back. So yeah, blown away by the distance that eMove cruiser could travel. Just staggering that it was able to carry this big guy at a comfortable speed on a nice big deck. It was really comfortable, but it was exhausting to do the range test.
Oh yeah. It's nice to have the deck space where you can kind of work your feet out and, change the foot positions. But you're right, it gets to be pretty exhausting.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be doing a lot of range tests with, that require me to be on a scooter for that sort of time in the near future. It's exhausting. What were your results like?
I got up to 42 miles on the cruiser. So that's, I haven't done that many conversions. So I'm not sure what that is exactly. So that's
about 65 kilometers.
Okay. And I got about 22 miles on the touring.
Oh, okay. But 35 kilometers. That's a long way.
Yeah. Pretty good. And
I slammed the touring myself. I found that the speed, the baseline speed for my weight was just far too slow. I even charged up and did a speed test, charged it right up and did an actual maximum speed test. I wasn't happy with it. I thought the build was great, but I just thought it was too slow for a big guy. But and then the range I thought was too small as well, because there are others out there that will go a little faster, like the Leg or the 09. They're going to get me further and faster.
So did you get more range with the 09 versus the eMove touring, because they are the same battery?
I think they're very, very similar. They are, yeah, they're exact same battery. And when I did my testing, I think I got 24 on the 09 and 21 on the But you know, there are a bunch of things that can account for that. It could be the run, the incline, temperature on the different days. So I'm not 100% sure. I mean, if they are both 13 amp hour batteries, then I'm sure they'll probably be about the same in range. The Legger is a slightly bigger battery, and I found it was at a higher top speed, and it got me a little bit further. So if I was going to buy one today, would I buy a 09 or a Legger or the Emu Touring? Then I would probably go with I would definitely go with the Legger.
Yep, I would completely follow your lead there. I really like the Legger is built pretty well for that simple of a scooter.
And it's just light enough you pick it up and just grab it with a hand and carry up a bunch of stairs.
Right. Now, what do you notice much of a difference? So single motor, I think there's going to be a difference over time with different weights on single versus dual motor. And that's, I haven't collected that enough information to make that determination yet. But do you see on a dual motor scooter, do you notice much different range between the scooters, or is it all kind of sort of similar?
If you ride it carefully, then I find the dual motor scooters, typically they have bigger batteries anyway. And, you know, I've done a couple of cool rides. I did a cool ride where I went out with the folks from Ride the Glide, and they had, you know, 3 large scooters, and we basically just changed scooters all the way around. And we went for a nice long ride that day, beautiful sunshine. And I actually found the dual motor scooters seem to go a lot further, which makes sense. Of course, their batteries are bigger. And, you know, they're comfortable when you're doing that 20, 25 miles an hour, which I tend to find with the bigger scooters. I seem to be going faster, if that makes sense, than perhaps I should, but they're designed for the speed and stuff. So yeah, that's been my experience for sure.
Yeah, I think you get a little more stability at speed with those larger scooters, especially when the weight of that scooter starts to be a significant factor. You know, scooters 75 to 150 pounds.
Absolutely. And that's actually what we're going to be talking about next, right? Is our part 3 of our discussion. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Wolf Warrior. When that Wolf Warrior is, I think it's 101 pounds or something like that. It's a beast to lift.
Oh yeah.
It's designed nicely with the rack at the back, so you can actually lift it up. So that makes a difference.
Okay.
And I did my review of the 011. Well, I did my 2020 review, best of, and the Wolf Warrior took 2 of those accolades, as I would call them. That is the best scooter of 2020, in my humble opinion, overall, and then also the best dual motor scooter of 2020, I believe is what it won, both those categories for me. All of those categories that I did in that video, they were all they had to have been scooters that I had ridden. They can't be, I realize there's a Ryan out there that I've never tried, and they've got incredible top speeds. And, there's, the 10X 60 volt, for example. I haven't tried that out yet. And there are a bunch of other OXO, is that how you say it? OXO, XO, whatever it is.
They have some really nice looking scooters. The build looks really good on some of theirs.
And Nanrobot, the new Nanrobot, I haven't tried that out. So there's tons of scooters that I haven't tried, Jim, and it's really tough to try them all because there are just so many. But manufacturers now, they're starting to send me some scooters for demos, and so. But and as a result, maybe this year I'll get a whole bunch more to try out and do comparisons with. And so that's what I like to do. I like to do the review of the actual scooter and then do a comparison.
Yeah, that's helpful.
And if you're looking for really detailed comparisons, make sure if you're not subscribed to Jim's channel, subscribe. He's very details oriented, and it's
down in the weeds.
No, it's awesome. It's really, really helpful, especially if you don't have a local shop where you can try one out. Check out the channels and make sure you're subscribed, because it's going to make a big difference. But you can ask me some questions about the Wolf Warrior.
Yeah. So is there like one thing that? So I'll be reviewing the Wolf Warrior here soon on my channel. So I focused a lot on smaller, more portable scooters. So, it's going to be a little deviation for me to really dive into some of these larger scooters. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. So you've
But
got one coming to you in the next few days type thing.
yep, I do. Yeah. And I purchased that through Vora Motors.
Oh,
So,
nice.
um, so what would you think like a big positive you really liked on the Wolf to maybe look out for, and then maybe like something that you thought was a little bit of a negative or you weren't a fan of?
Well, from the positive, I mean, it won my best scooter of 2020. So that means of all the scooters I rode in 2020, that was the one that I went, wow, this thing has everything. I could cruise on it. I can, take it off roading if I wanted to. It's got plenty of power to take this big guy around, no problem. Um, the ride, the comfort, the dual stem, the big light at the front. What else? The braking on it was fantastic. It was just an overall solid, really well made scooter. I put Wolf on the same sort of line as like a Dualtron Thunder or a 011X. There's probably similar price points depending where you are in the world, and all three of them are excellent in those categories. But I thought just overall the Thunder was my preferred scooter because it was flexible enough that if I decided to go off-roading, as I said, I could do it. I found the Dualtron was just a little bit too low. Again, a fabulous machine. But um, the 11X was faster, more peppy off the line. It's 70 volts though, and it's a big battery, a big power from those twin motors. But so what did I like about it? The big thing was definitely just the ability to be able to just do anything with it. The only downside, and this is a downside that you're going to get with these style of scooters, is the weight. It is a huge weight. It's 100 pounds, which is more than double of the single motor scooters.
Yeah.
Even the Cruiser, I think, is around 55 pounds, and I can go 50 kilometers on that thing. So, to double the weight means for somebody who lives on the top floor of an apartment building with no elevator, I don't want to be carrying a 100-pound scooter up and down the stairs all the time.
Yeah.
But again, I don't really know. So when I give you that negative, it's not really a negative that Dualtron or Voro or Zero can change, right? Because, batteries are going to weigh what batteries weigh. The motor's going to weigh what the motor weighs until we get to solid state batteries, until like some big changes in the next few years happen. If you want dual motors and you want power, yeah, you must be excited about it though. It's an amazing machine. If you got a garage that you can just ride straight into, wow, you're laughing.
Yeah, I would be keeping it. Yeah, and I've had back problems, so the weight of the scooter really comes into play for me. So even just moving that scooter, versus rolling it. So I'll be lucky enough to have it in a roll it. I'll be able to roll it around. So yeah, we'll just be kind of sitting in the garage, and yeah, it'll be interesting. I think I'll be spending a lot of time on it to get some of these range testing.
I think it's an amazing machine, and it was an absolute delight for me to ride it around town and take it for a boot up and down. And I've been on it a few times now for comparison tests, and it's an amazing machine. Yeah, I think you've made a really, really cool and really good purchase there.
Yeah. So I'm excited to check it out.
Well, thank you, Jim. I'm so pleased to have met you, to have a chat with you, Electron Surfer. If you're watching this video and you found it kind of interesting, and leave your comments down below, comments for me to ask Jim or for Jim to ask me, or ideas for perhaps a future online Zoom call / video that we can share between our channels. Write that down in the comments. As I said before, make sure you have subscribed to Electron Surfer. Electron Surfer is one of those channels that I actually started watching to sort of understand what scooters that I wanted. And as I said, he gets right into the weeds, which is awesome.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure, Tim, for sure.
And if you're watching this on his channel, you want to watch, come on over to mine, and by all means subscribe to Tim's Electric. I've got lots of fun things. What do you have coming up? So you're going to be doing the review now of the Wolf Warrior. You'll be doing range tests and things like that. What's coming up for you?
Right now, coming up in the next couple of months, I'll have a number more of bike reviews. So I kind of do both. I actually come from more of a bike background. So the scooters, I really enjoy them, but they really fit two different purposes for me personally, my use. So yeah, I got some bikes in the garage right now I've been riding, and it's fun. There's a bunch of different products out there, and I got a couple of scooters coming up too, along with the Wolf Warrior. So
Exciting.
trying to really up the content, and also some more technical videos to help with some of those, weird voltage and understanding wattage, and some of the technical terms that can be a little difficult sometimes to understand.
Awesome. Well, it sounds very familiar. It's very similar to myself. I've got more scooters coming in. I'm actually going to start doing some electric bikes for big guys as well.
Awesome.
I'm going to be doing moped style reviews, and maybe even a couple of electric car reviews as well, because up in Canada, we don't actually have that many electric car options other than Tesla and Hyundai, Kona, and things like that. But there aren't tons of options. So I'm going to do some electric car reviews too. So
awesome.
Thank you, Jim, for taking the time to hop on a call with me and to do this. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, make sure you leave a comment down below. We both reply to our comments. We love receiving comments. And make sure you hit that thumbs up. That's always much appreciated. Thanks again, Jim. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Cheers.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.